Welcome back, everyone, as we see, oh my gosh, cheering G2 after that game over Rogue, as we're going to close out day 2 of the Super Week here in summer by talking to BrokenBlade. I'm here with Trouble as well, as we'll talk a little bit about Rogue. Yeah, we heard a bit from Targamas already, but what was your spectacular vision on the draft that you fielded?
I mean, I think it was actually, like we were in the draft and we were like, guys, what do you think about Yasudana? Does it bang? And then we said, yeah, it bangs, right? So we went with it. And then the early game was a bit rough. I think there could have been some things, you know, that we could do better. But as I said, when it bangs with this draft, it really bangs. In team fights, they had like no chance. And we had really good scenarios where we forced Silas Zhonya's. Like we really played well around those cooldowns. Also around the Renata. Mm-hmm. So everyone was really giving it the all in this game. I could feel it, right? So I'm just very happy with how we performed, especially after the early game. So, yeah.
I feel like Targamas was asked by Law as well, and he said we didn't give necessarily 2 mats to Rogue, right? But they did have 3 dragons, and that was a Mountain Soul. Was there any doubt in your minds, guys, that if the Mountain Soul actually went towards Rogue and they were able to maybe get 3, 4 items on their affiliates, that was their win condition?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a time where they traded sides in the game. There was the early game, right? Where we went top, we killed Ornn, and I think the Aphelios took like 2 to 3 plates. That was when their bot side started to become stronger, and they took the Drakes. We started fighting on the 3rd Drake, where we were thinking, okay, now we can have some banger fights. But they got the Drake on that pot. But the 4th Drake, then we got it right, and we again played well around the cooldowns. Because I think I was very strong in the game. I could really accelerate my lead, especially against the Ornn with Blade of Ruin King, right? I mean, I had Blade of Ruin King. But, yeah, I mean, the fights were just really easy at some point. So we were not really worried. We knew that it's going to be important to contest it, but we're never really worried.
Yeah, it felt like Rogue would have to play it really, really perfectly a couple of times in fights to get everything the way they want it in order to not have you pull off your combo. I love that you said, oh, just the Diana Yasuo, because everything else in this draft is completely standard. I mean, we've seen the Yone before, we've seen the Swain before, but not necessarily all of them at the same time in the same comp, right? So, yeah. But to you, it's just...
a banger draft.
A banger draft.
Does
I think it's the birth of a new meme.
He did double the, you did double the damage out of any one of your teammates.
That's pretty nuts.
Crazy.
I love, it's the birth of a new meme, I think. Does it bang? It bangs. So how much is a draft like this a reaction to kind of a movement we've seen? Because the narrative is that G2 figured out drafts that worked for them, smashed everyone in the LEC, smashed everyone at MSI, and then stopped smashing and banging entirely. So, you know, is there more exploration of drafts in the aftermath of that?
I mean, I think in MSI we had kind of like a down phase. I think every team has to experience it at some point. And I think we did bounce back. I don't think we are fully actually at our highest potential yet. But we're starting to play a lot more with confidence again, and it shows, right, in those games. And if you keep this up, we're going to be the same level as we were in the finals last split. So I'm just confident. I'm looking forward to it. You know, it's very fun to play with those drafts and teammates as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. When it's going well, you can see it in G2. You're one of the teams that I think works the best off the momentum you get and off the confidence. And something we were talking about before we went on air is now, Targamas said it as well, you're in Korea, you get all these impulses, you get to scrim top tier teams that make you really think about what you can do and you can play at the highest level. If you're going to come into the LEC the way you ended, right, being a step above everyone else, which it's looking like in the Super Week now, how do you make sure that without that practice against the LPL teams and the LCK teams, you're working on your things enough and your issues enough to get into that international stage?
Well, it's a good point, because I felt like there was an issue we had of why we were not to the level that the Asian teams were. So what we were discussing was that we should practice better. And obviously I can't go much into detail about this, but I think our practice last year, it was all right? It was good. But it wasn't good enough to beat the best teams in the world just yet. So that's something that we have been looking to fix, and we have been looking to do better. That's why I also like the culture on our team, because we always look to do stuff better, right? And even though we have a lot of fun as well, there's also a lot of try-hardness, which I really like. And I think that's probably also the reason why we're winning so many games.
I love to hear that, and I understand you can't say too much, but yeah, I think easily people go like, oh, G2, the meme team and the drafts and this, but obviously there's a whole system behind it, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, Georgia, the Kia player of the game was Jankos. 48% of the votes. I mean, maybe BB wants to jump in as well.
On his own and throwing it to his team this time. I think he's Diana ultimate for Stella. He would always find the target. The second he would press R onto the affiliates, everyone was piling up on top. And I think everyone relied obviously on Jankos on the Diana to get that engaged to find the target, and he did multiple times.
Yeah, Mickey was flaming him a little bit.
I mean, Mickey always flames him.
Yeah, but it's friendship flame probably, right? That's how it goes. Yeah, I also want to ask you about the meta in general. Oruamne was playing Ornn, and he just tweeted something like friendship with Ornn ended. I know you played a lot of Ornn, but as a top laner, I'm probably pretty happy right now, right? Or
I mean, I'm always playing a lot of stuff, so I'm always happy. There's some top laners who are stuck with some champs throughout the whole split. But I feel like Dylan trusts me a lot in terms of my champions. Obviously, there's sometimes where I don't do well on a champ, and then I have to work harder to, you know, perform better and stuff like that. And with the system we have, I feel like I'm just very free to counterpick or even pick it on, right? Last split.
Yeah.
And win the games. If it's good, I'll play it. And yeah, today was good. I played it and it banged, you know.
Yeah.
And also, let's not forget, right? When you were on the Ornn, it would be permabanned after a while. They're like, yeah, okay, we can let other people play the Ornn, but not BrokenBlade. BrokenBlade's Ornn is too broken. I want to ask you in general about the meta, because I feel like so far there's been only 3 teams that have played really fast-paced games, and that's Excel, Fnatic, and you guys. Like, your early games really snowball hard. Is that how you're willing to play this sort of much slower, hard-to-dive meta?
I mean, I actually think that the games were slower because it was the beginning of split. I feel like the games are always a bit slower in the beginning, right? People don't want to take too many risks. People are just a little more scared in the beginning. And us, and I think all like the more experienced teams, they know how to play the game, I guess.
Yeah.
So they just play how they should play in most cases. And I don't think the meta is necessarily slow, but it's definitely like, obviously the champions are a bit tankier, right? But if teams figure out the meta fast, like we do, for example, or other teams, then they can get some dubs, you know.
Yeah. What's your vision on kind of tower diving in general and playing around those towers? Because, you know, there has been a change, and we see that in the LPL they still do it, and the argument has been made that it's because they're so pixel perfect with the way they execute the dives and their abilities that they can get away with it still. But what's your view on it overall?
I mean, we also had some dives this game on top lane. So, I mean,
we were stomping a bit. So.
I think it depends, right? Like, it's obviously harder to dive, especially tier 2s. They really bang.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think that also changes some matchups where in some matchups you would be diveable a lot, right? Now they have to take a lot more things in consideration. Can they actually dive, you know, there's just more limit testing as well in scrims, for example, to try and see, okay, can I actually dive or not? So I don't think it was a bad change. I think it was actually a good change just because it changes up the game a little bit, brings up new ideas to the teams, new champions, new metas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm happy with the change.
Oh, I like it. I hadn't looked at it that way, in the way of like, oh, now you really have to think about, will it be easier or harder for us to do the dives in terms of the kit that this champion has and not just the lane matchup and whatnot. So deep, man, League of Legends. So let's take a look at the standings. G2, XL, and Mad are all undefeated. What do you think about XL, BrokenBlade?
Well, I mean, I think XL actually also last split already. They were a really good scrim partner. It always felt like they were trying the hardest to win the games, which not most teams. But
who's a bad scrim partner?
I don't want to say.
Sorry.
But there's obviously. Like, I think XL is probably my favorite team to scrim, personally. I don't know about my teammates, but I like to scrim them. They're nice to scrim. They don't mess around a lot. They don't waste your time. They actually try really hard, and there's competitive games, you know, and I think it shows as well, the split. But tomorrow, unfortunately, I have to take a loss, but other than that, I think they're on a good
Oh
way.
yeah, you're playing them tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Georgia, Mad Lions are also undefeated. That LEC change has paid dividends
So far, yeah. It feels like our question at the end of the day was like, yeah, okay, Niski is great and all. He can lead the team, but he cannot press bot lane's buttons. But you know what? He put Unforgiven on Elise and he was like, you come with me. We're going to flank the team. We're going to sandwich them all and then we're going to kill them. And I think it works. Max said it. He demands, he asks for it, and he makes it work.
Yeah. Is there any insight you can give us, BrokenBlade, of something that is not reflected in the standings, like someone we should look out for in terms of a team? Or not really?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure actually.
Okay.
I mean, all I can say is, I think Mad Lions, we will beat them.
You will beat that. That's basically what you say.
Yeah.
But Rogue, I don't know. Oh, they've been done dirty by the alphabet. Oh, wait. Yeah, by the alphabet. QRST. No, they've just been done dirty.
Full stop.
Full stop. What do you think about this? Is just like a rough start for them to the split, or?
I mean, I think so. I think Rogue usually always plays pretty well. I mean, they had a rough schedule. So it's not the worst that they are losing many games this week. I think if they play against lower tier teams, they can probably get the dubs that they usually get, right? Like,
yeah.
But I mean, I can't really say how good they are because we didn't actually scrim a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because we had the long break after MSI. So I'm not sure. I can't really say much.
Fair
I don't
enough.
have many insights.
I'll stop picking your brain because you're right. I keep forgetting that you actually did not get a lot of time to scrim yet. So let's take a look at tomorrow's schedule because it is Super Week. We've also got games tomorrow. G2 versus XL, as said already, absolute banger. Rogue versus Mad, absolute banger. Yeah, SK versus Fnatic. Used to be El Clasico, if people are old enough. Used to be a banger. So we'll see. Good stuff, Georgia, for the last day of Super Week.
Absolutely. I think I'm mostly looking towards that XL versus G2 because I feel like Bibi here said XL is try-harding for their lives. G2 came back from MSI, didn't go well in MSI, but here it seems to be going pretty well. So I'm like, okay, somebody's going to have to take the L tomorrow.
Yeah. Oof, I'm very excited for tomorrow. So let's finish up PGL here since we have another day and take another PGL selfie. That's part of my day, at least. You can actually like...
Oh, perfect.
Yeah! Smile! Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much. That does it for us here today in the LEC, but the LCS waiting room starts in 2 minutes. Twitch.tv/LCS. We'll see you tomorrow. Get some sleep. Well, no, watch LCS. Get some sleep. Maybe they coincide. That happens sometimes with me. But good night. See you tomorrow.